Hi folks, Nick Cortez once again for Creation Army TV. Thanks for watching. Today we'll be talking about art brushes. Art brushes are one of my favorite features in Illustrator, and they can be a real time saver. They can help you come up with some really creative artwork very quickly. So what are art brushes? Art brushes are a way for you to take your vector artwork and turn it into something that you can quickly paint onto a line or onto a stroke. And here's what I mean by that. Here, right in front of us, we have this example. I've drawn this black rectangle with a green circle on the left side and a red circle on the right side. And this doesn't look like anything, but this is meant to illustrate the example that with an art brush, the artwork that you make on the left side, you can think of this left side as your starting line, and you can think of this right side as your ending line. And when you make an art brush, I also encourage you to make your art in this same left to right fashion, as if you're reading a sentence left to right. Sometimes, and it is possible, you can make an art brush in an up and down fashion, or you can make it reversed, but you'll never have success if it's tilted or at a strange angle like this. So I tend to always think of my artwork as a left to right, like a sentence, just like I'm illustrating here in this example. So here's how we turn this into an art brush that I can actually paint and bend along a stroke pretty easily. I'll take this entire group of objects, and here we have our brushes palette right here, and it already has some preloaded in here. But there's two ways to make an art brush. You can select your artwork and just drag it right in, and you see how the palette sort of lights up with that orange border. The second way to do it is select your artwork and then hit the new brush button here on the bottom of the brushes palette. I'll just do that. And you are asked by Illustrator a few of these different options. I'm going to choose art brush, and we'll get to these other brushes in future videos. And I'll hit OK, and another panel is going to open up. It gives me the opportunity to name this art brush, start to finish. You don't have to name them, but I encourage you to do it. Some of these other options apply to if you're using a Wacom tablet. You can actually change the width of the brush with pressure or a stylus wheel. Again, I won't be covering that in this video. We're only talking about the basics. The direction, you can barely see it here on this diagram. You get a preview of your artwork in brush form here, and it goes left to right in this standard left to right format. And this button is depressed for stroke from left to right. If you hit this button, it'll be reversed. I haven't had much luck with that before, so I always make my brushes left to right for the most amount of control. Colorization, I'll talk about in a future video. I'm going to leave it on none for now, but you can actually carefully control the colors of your brushes with these. Tints is the easiest. Key color we won't worry about. You can also flip your artwork along the y-axis or the x-axis, and we'll get to that eventually, but it won't even show for this one. So I'll just hit OK. All I did really was just give this a name, and so now you see it in the brush palette, and you get a little preview of it here, and you hover over it. That's the name. So here's how you use this art brush. You can use either your pen tool with P, you can use your pencil tool, which is N right here, or you can use the paintbrush tool, which I almost never use. This is kind of a freehand tool that you can just draw, I'll just draw a line, and there's my artwork drawn along this vector line that I just drew with freehand. You can also just use the pen tool if you want to, and you can arc your artwork. Now notice what's happening. This line, this stroke rather, now is in the shape or appearance of this group of artwork which I made into an art brush. You can make whatever shape you want to, and again you can see the start, the green circle over on the left side, and the finish over on the right side. Now the art brush isn't a left to right thing, the art brush is a start to finish thing. So I can actually start over here on the right side and draw a line to the left, and you'll see that the start green circle is now over on the other side. That's because this was my first anchor point, this was my first click. So the direction of a line is important to an art brush. And if a certain brush is facing the wrong direction, if you, in other words, want to reverse this, you can come up to your art brush panel, and instead of double clicking on the brush preview itself, you can just click on this button, which is Options of Selected Object. I'll click that. This panel will pop up. It's almost exactly like the last panel we were looking at, minus the preview. And you can flip or toggle these flip switches. This option right here will flip the artwork left to right or along the y-axis. So if I hit that, you'll see that my artwork now changes its orientation from left to right. We'll see no change with this one because it is, although it is flipping upside down, there's very little, I mean, you can't really notice that a circle is flipping upside down. So if it were a triangle, you'd be able to see it actually flipping this way, basically up and down along the spine. So I'll just hit OK. So there you go. That's basically how art brushes are built, and that's how you draw with them. That's the basic concept. Now, what if you decide that you want to add one more dot, or what if you decide that this isn't looking right, or you want to change it somehow? You can do that on the fly. In one of my previous videos, I talked about graphic styles, and I showed you the concept of universal replacement. Universal replacement works for almost all the palettes in Illustrator, including the art brush palette. So if you were to make a change to your original artwork here, let's say I want a green, I want a red triangle instead. I'll delete this. I'll use the polygon tool, and I'll just draw a triangle, a red triangle here at the end. And it doesn't have to be perfect. This is only an example. I'll move it over here. I'll select all of this again, and I'll move it up to the brushes palette. If I just drop it in here without pressing any keys, I'll be creating a brand new art brush. And I don't want that for now. What I want to do is actually replace this one. So I'll hold the Alt or Option key, and you'll see the little black square appear around the brush that I'm hovering over. If I move up, you can see I'm about to replace the other ones. I want to replace this one, so I'll keep holding Alt and Option on the keyboard, and I'll let go of my mouse click. And now the original panel comes up asking me what I want to do. Preview will be, I have preview clicked here, but it never seems, I don't know, this might be a glitch in Illustrator, but nothing is actually, see that there's no triangle on any of these lines, no matter what I do, so I don't know, like it previews flip along, but it doesn't actually preview the triangle that now exists in the line. I think that's a glitch. I think they should update that. But when I hit OK, it will ask me if I want to apply the changes to all of these brush strokes, and I do. Here's the warning. The brush that I'm editing is in use, and it is in use on these 3 lines here. Do you want to apply the changes to existing brush strokes, which are these, or leave the strokes as they are and create a new copy of the brush? I want to apply to strokes, so I'll hit apply, and they will all universally change, and they'll all now contain this triangle. So there you go. That's how you make an art brush, and that's how you replace an art brush and update all of the artwork on the artboard that uses that art brush. Like I said before, you can use the pen tool, the pencil tool, the brush tool. It doesn't matter as long as this brush is applied to the stroke of the line. You're in business. You can also draw an ellipse, and notice that the art brush sort of starts here, goes around in a clockwise fashion to the end. The end of the circle, I guess, is considered this anchor point here. And if you rotate the shape, you'll rotate the entire circle. That will happen. You can also make a square and apply that art brush to its stroke, and it starts and ends here in the bottom right corner. You can make a star if you want to. You can, let's see, let's pull out the spiral tool. You can get some pretty strange results depending on what you do, but you can also get some really beautiful results. For instance, if you're trying to draw a character with wavy hair, you can make your artwork, your original artwork, which I'm highlighting here, look like a straight strand of, or a bunch of hair. And then when you're drawing your character, you can use that art brush to draw wavy hair. Combined with some other effects, you can come up with some pretty interesting looking hair and character effects. I'll delete all of these, and I'll expose this layer right here. These are some other examples that I made before the video. You've got your basic arrowhead, and I'll get into coloring, controlling the color of art brushes in a future video. And then there are some artistic chalk and charcoal brushes that actually come with Illustrator. Those are located here on the brush palette. If you actually hit this bottom left button, brush libraries, you'll see this sort of fly out. And these are built in to Illustrator. So for instance, let's use artistic ink. All right, so this whole panel will pop up, and these are some other art brushes that you can use. So I'll just draw a line, and I'm borrowing this graphic style. But if you just click dry ink wash or anything, then this artwork will be applied to the line. Here's a nice quick tip. If you want to edit this, which came with Illustrator, you want to edit this. This might not be working for you. You might want another couple of gobs over here on the left side. You can always pull this artwork right out onto your artboard and edit it to your heart's content. And to do that, all you have to do is click on it, hold it, and just drag it right out. And you can see my mouse has that little green icon next to it. When I let go, I'm sorry, that was a mistake. You can see that this art brush was actually applied to this background rectangle to its stroke. I don't want that. So there you go, learn from my mistake. Don't drag it out onto other artwork. If I do that to the text up here, now this text has that. So hey, we all learned something new today. No, what you want to do is you want to drag this out onto empty artboard area, which I have up here. This is my transparency grid, and the artwork, the gray brush, now appears out here. And it is a piece of artwork that is contained inside of a clipping mask, which is represented by this rectangle. I like to sometimes just delete that rectangle. You don't really need it. So what did I say? I was going to add a couple of gobs to the left side. And again, this is left to right. This is my starting line here on the left side, and this is my finish line on the right side. And so you can take this gob over here, add another one, shrink it, make another one over here. And now I'll take this whole piece of artwork and I'll drag it right back over this art brush holding option, and it will be replaced. The thing is though, you can't do it from this panel, which is built into Illustrator. You have to do it in your document brushes palette, which is right here. You can see the new brush right here, which I'm using. I'm actually going to alt drag it over this guy. There we go. Now the replacement options come up, and I'll hit OK, and it will ask me if I want to apply. Yes, and that's the reason is the line down here was using that artwork. If I undo, you can see the original, and if I redo, you can see the new, which has the two new gobs on the left side. So art brushes are great because you can edit them on the fly. And if something's not working for you, you can always change it. So let's talk quickly. Oh, I'm approaching 15 minutes. In the next video, I will be talking about how to precisely control the size of your art brushes, and then probably in another video I'll talk about how you can control color of your art brushes so that you can achieve things like hair and grass pretty easily. Thanks for watching. Stick around for some future videos all about art brushes. I'm Nick with Creation Army TV. Thank you.